Hey, welcome to Romance Happy Hour. I'm Dylann Crush, and I'm here with my, there we go, co-hostess, Dawn Luedecke. So we've
Hello.
also got guests tonight, Tess Summers and Karen White, aka Karen Gray. So thanks for being with us tonight. We appreciate it.
Excited to be
Thank
here.
you.
Good. Yay. So Dawn, update us. What's going on with you?
Just working on my cowboy book for my agent, and then the Huntress and the Beach and the Beast. Huntress and the Beach.
You got beach on the mind, huh?
Yes, it's like springtime here. I'm getting very excited about that. Yeah, Huntress and the Beast for my Lexa Jade. And so that's all I'm working on. Other than that, just doing the real estate thing and trying to keep up with my crazy kids and all their sports events. We just finished up wrestling, and so yeah, that was fun. My little 8-year-old, my 8-year-old, number 3,
Yay.
won first almost every time. So
Wow.
yeah, he did really good. Really proud of him. So
Good.
Yay. Yeah. What about you, Dylann?
I've been writing a lot. I revealed last week in my newsletter. My newsletter's been hopping. Last week I had a freebie, a free excerpt of my new book, that the first book in the, I don't know why I can't talk tonight, Whiskey Wars series. And so I have like a little excerpt. It's the first few chapters called Just a Taste. And so that's up for free on all retailers, and the first book is coming out May 12th. So I'm getting prepped for that. And if you are in my newsletter list, this week there's going to be a special surprise. I've got the cover all finalized for my next cowboy series that's coming out. The first book comes out in August, and that one's through Berkeley. So
ew, fun.
Yeah. So that one I've got a reveal coming up in my newsletter this week, and that is called Kiss Me Now, Cowboy. So yeah, there's lots going on.
Well, I can't wait to see. I'm very excited about your whiskey series.
I am too. I know. Yeah. I've been talking about it for a really long time, so it's kind of fun and also nerve-wracking to finally be getting books out.
So Tess and Karen don't know that she reached out to like a distillery down south, and they sent her a huge box of whiskey.
I was wondering what the research process for this.
Yeah,
very intense. Extremely
intense. Yeah. Big,
what's
huge
the name
box
of
of whiskey.
Company?
I'm a whiskey girl.
Yeah.
So the company that I talked to is Pennington Distillery out of Nashville.
Nice.
And then last summer we went to Asheville. So they're in Nashville, but we went to Asheville and for a family wedding, and we didn't get to stop by because it didn't work out, because I had my husband and 3 children in tow, and they were not going to be super patient while I spent hours and hours at a whiskey distillery. But we toured a couple other distilleries in the area, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun. I really did not mind doing the research for the whiskey books at all.
No, wait, did you say Pennington or Pentington?
Pennington. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh my gosh.
I know Asheville's a big beer town. I didn't realize they also had distilleries. Asheville, not Nashville.
Right. They do have some. Well, I didn't go to any in Asheville. We went because, well, we'd been in Asheville and we were driving through over to Tennessee. And so there were a lot more around Pigeon Forge and that whole area.
Gatlinburg.
So, yes.
Wow. So I just totally looked this up because I did not realize that was the distillery that you talked to. And that's literally like my stepdad's favorite whiskey. Like that's the only thing he drinks. That's hilarious. I'm going to have to tell him.
It's good whiskey.
That's all he drinks. Like he gets the expensive crap too.
It's really good whiskey. And now I kind of have become a little bit of a whiskey snob because, you know, I've been sampling. So.
Oh my
gosh, I like
that's awesome.
Tennessee whiskey. I like, Kentucky bourbon and Tennessee whiskey because it's almost the same thing, which I'm not going to get into right now. But I don't have as much of an appreciation for like Scottish or Irish whiskey because to me it tastes too peaty. So we'll have to I have to get some research on that. But
I think a European trip is definitely
for sure.
required.
Yeah.
For sure. So Tess, we would love to hear from you, fellow whiskey lover.
Yes.
Yeah.
About other things that you do. What kind of books you write, and anything else you want to tell us?
I write contemporary romance. I do have a series that is a mafia series, but it's also contemporary. I just launched a book today. Yay!
Oh, happy book birthday!
Thank you.
We love it when we have authors who have a release
Yes.
on the day they're on the show. It's always so much fun.
It worked out perfect. It's Wicked Hot Baby Daddy. It's the 4th book in the Boston Elite series. And actually, Wicked Hot Silver Fox is free this weekend, so you can pick up your copy for free on Amazon. And I am with Kindle Unlimited, so I'm exclusive with Amazon. So if you have Kindle Unlimited, look me up. And if you don't, look me up anyway, right?
We'll have to put a link to that up on the Facebook page. So
Yeah, that'd be great.
Where to
Now,
find it.
Karen, weren't you saying you had a Boston series as well?
I do. Yeah.
Oh, gosh, that's so cool.
There are not a lot of books set in Boston, so that's pretty cool. And I know that if it is set in Boston, that you would say it is actually Wicked Hat.
Oh yes, Wicked Hat. Because I'm wicked smart.
Are you from Boston? Let me ask you that.
You know what? I'm not. But I've always wanted to go to Boston, so I thought this was the perfect. I'll set a series in Boston. And it's funny. My neighbor is from Boston, and so she has given me some wicked sayings like "piss up."
Yeah.
and I just started following someone on Twitter, so yeah, I'm picking up all kinds of things. That's great.
What about you, Karen?
My husband is from Boston.
Okay.
But I lived in Boston in the late 80s, which is when my Boston Classics series is set, through the early 90s. So I have a lot of lived experience in my books, even though it was 30 some years ago. I have to look things up to remember what exactly was happening back then.
I lived in Boston from 2001 or 2 to 2009.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I missed you. Yeah, we were in LA then.
I'm not a fan, though. I love you both. I'm not a fan of Boston. I'm just going to put that out there. No, because of the mass holes.
Oh.
No, yeah. No, I had some good times, but I mean, Boston's a whole new, they're their own people. They're their own country, basically, up there.
My husband is one of those mass holes.
Yeah.
When he wants to be.
Yeah.
Kind, generous guy, great dad, but don't pull out for him.
Oh gosh, traffic and mass. I think that's why they call them mass holes, is traffic.
Oh, yeah. I remember reading in the newspaper once, they quoted a guy, they were doing some survey about whether people use turn signals in Boston or not. And he was like, why would I give away information to the enemy?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That was his opinion about a turn signal.
Yeah. No, I've seen police officers, one of the big things was they like to use the shoulder as an extra
lane.
Lane.
Yep.
Yeah. It's an extra lane. So I've actually seen police officers that they doubled up to slow traffic down just to see who would use that lane, that extra lane. And then they were like, see ya. And they went and pulled him over. I was like, oh, the skills of these police officers over here.
Tricky.
Sneaky.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got some Boston settings here. And Karen, why don't you tell us a little about what you're working on, what you're doing, anything about you?
Well, I live in North Carolina now. I've lived, as I sort of said, in Boston and LA, but we moved here so that our kids would have some other experience of the world other than a big city. And they're now in college, so I'm an empty nester. And I've been an audiobook narrator for a long time, but I just started writing, actually publishing during COVID in 2020. My first book came out.
Okay.
So
Great.
I published the 4th full-length novel in the Boston Classics series in December, and that audiobook just came out. It's called Child of Mine. And then I have a new series coming out this summer called Carolina Classics, which is set in North Carolina in the 1990s. So I'm playing in that. I call it nostalgic romantic comedy.
Yes.
Time
Yes.
when many of us can really remember what life was like,
Right.
or
Right.
watch the TV shows. But
Right.
it's still, everything was really different and yet the same. That's sort
Right.
of what I'm
Right.
playing around with. And
Mhm.
oh, there's one I can't remember what else I was going to say. Yeah, I think that's it.
Great. Well, I can't wait to hear. Do you narrate your own books?
I actually narrated half of my
Okay.
first book. I write first person, alternating points of view. So I've had a different couple for each book.
Okay.
It's been really fun to cast my friends and to find new narrators. The most recent book was narrated by Erin Mallon, who is a queen of contemporary romance and is also a writer. She and I published our first novels the same time. And but then I found this guy, Tom Taylorson, who every single review was like, "Oh, I knew I loved Erin, but Tom Taylorson could speak in a Southern accent to me all day long." His character is kind of my bridge to North Carolina. So,
okay.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. So I'm also, I'm so excited. I'm in an anthology called Smartasses, which is nerd romance stories, and they're all new. And that's coming out this summer. At first, you can only get it if you are going to Book Bonanza or a Polycon.
Okay.
And it's all for charity. And then in the fall, it'll be released everywhere for a few months.
Way cool. Way
Great.
cool.
Very fun.
Yeah.
Well, we didn't realize that we had a professional audiobook narrator on here.
No.
Now I'm like you.
Where's Karen? I mean, she loves her audiobook narrators.
I know, right? Karen actually had an
know.
event right before this, so I don't know if she'll pop in or not, but
Yeah.
But we should probably get to it. So Tess is reading for us first. Do you need to set up?
I didn't know this, Karen, when I agreed to go first. That you were.
I won't judge. I promise.
I am gonna stand, so I'm gonna raise my desk up. So
Okay,
give me
sure.
a second.
I'll go for it.
That's very, very good vocal hygiene. I appreciate it.
You approve.
That's pretty slick how you can do that so quickly.
Yeah, I've got let's just hope it doesn't
fall during the middle of So are you reading from your book that just released today?
I am reading from my book that released today. So I'll give you just a quick little background on it. It, like you said, it is the 4th book in the Boston series. And the heroine and the hero met in Cape Cod, and they were the 4th of July, and they had a whirlwind romance. And then the hero, James, ghosted her, and she had no idea why. And then she found out she was pregnant. So she moved to Boston to be with her best friend. And they opened a bed and breakfast because she, Yvette, was a hotel manager. So she's now running the bed and breakfast. So the scene that I'm going to start with is she's open, and it's her and her best friend, Hope, who is the heroine in book 3, Wicked Hat medicine. They're having a conversation about the fact that Yvette is keeping the baby a secret right now.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
we will be back after.
All right. Here we go. Have you considered I'm going to want my goddaughter at important events in my life, like birthdays, weddings, going to the Cape in the summers, things that her daddy is also going to be at? That queasy feeling intensified. Yvette closed her eyes tight and winced while her daddy ghosted me. So even if I wanted to, I couldn't just call him and let him know. Luckily, I don't want to. Hope gripped the top of Yvette's hand. I get it. This sucks. He's not who you thought, but he's still your baby daddy. At least you know you're going to have a beautiful kid. Pardon me. That was true. James was a gorgeous man. She'd been tongue-tied at just how good-looking he was the first time she'd met him. His dark brown hair was starting to gray, and his eyes sometimes seemed to match the color. Other times they appeared as blue as the ocean. She hoped their child looked more like him than her. Are you going to be okay if the ultrasound shows I'm having a boy? You're having a girl, Hope said authoritatively. And you know this how? I had a dream that you and I were at the beach and there was a little girl building a sandcastle with us. Oh, how can I argue with you had a dream? You can't, Hope replied with a grin. The same grin she had as she'd held Yvette's hand when the sonogram revealed she was right. Yvette was having a girl. I told you, she declared triumphantly. Now I can really start shopping, which meant Amazon deliveries now arrived almost daily to the Dragonfly. Yvette heard the jingle of the bell over the front door while she was in the bathroom and looked at her watch. It was right about the time the Prime driver showed up. Yvette walked out of the bathroom and almost tripped over the gray cat she'd rescued from the resort in Puerto Vallarta. Jalisco, she scolded as she bent over to scoop up the feline and nuzzle his soft fur against her skin. I'm not going to be able to see you over my belly pretty soon, let alone bend over to pick you up. Jalisco purred loudly in her arms as she walked toward the lobby. Here's the owner now, Taylor, the recent college grad Yvette and Hope had hired to help run things, called loudly from the front desk when Yvette came into view. She put on her best hospitable proprietor smile to greet her guest. Yvette turned to face the person Taylor was talking to and felt the blood rush to her feet. There stood James, looking as sexy as ever in his gray Henley and faded Levi's that fit him just right. He sported a pair of brown boots instead of flip-flops that he'd worn this summer when they were together. He really was gorgeous. Then her stare traveled to his arm, or rather, who was hanging on his arm. The woman was perfect, not a long blonde hair out of place as her manicured hand clung to James' biceps. She also was wearing jeans and brown boots, only hers were over her jeans and came to her knee. Her brown cable knit sweater was tight, showcasing a beautiful set of boobs. She looked up at James with a fake pout on her perfectly made-up face. They were a model couple. The thought hit her that this woman could be her child's stepmother. The lobby started to spin, and the last thing Yvette remembered was releasing Jalisco before everything went black. Chapter 18, James. Yvette! Taylor, the girl on the other side of the desk who'd been helping him check in, screeched when Yvette knocked a lamp over as she began to sway. James reached her just in time. The familiar scent of her shampoo hit him as he held her limp body in his arms. He had an overwhelming desire to sit on the couch and hold her against him, but he opted for setting her down on the cushions and kneeling beside her. Was he an asshole for the ego boost he felt that just her seeing him had that effect on her? Probably. His date and Taylor rushed over. The hotel employee's tone was frantic when she asked, "Is she okay?" James touched the pulse on Yvette's neck. It was strong but slow. "She's okay. She fainted. Can you get her a cool rag?" His date, Brandy, probably not her real name, observed, "She's really pale." James looked down at Yvette's pretty face. It was the same one that had been standing beside him in his daydreams when he'd envisioned his future. He didn't allow himself to daydream anymore. Her brown hair was shorter than the last time he'd seen her, and darker. He remembered how it had looked almost blonde when they were on the beach, then by the light of the moon, it seemed to have silver threads. James stared at her lips. How he spent 3 days kissing them every chance he could flooded his memory. He could still hear the little noises she'd make when they made out in the sand. A picture of how beautiful she was when he'd made her come undone in his bed popped in his memory. She frickin' broke your heart, his brain reminded him. But staring at her, he realized it'd been worth it. That's normal. Her cheeks will regain their color when she starts to wake up. Taylor appeared with a damp towel and handed it to him. Poor thing. She just got over her morning sickness. Now this. Oh my God, Brandy replied. Exactly why I'm never getting pregnant. Which was exactly why he dated her. There was no envisioning children or a future with her. Wait, pregnant? James let his eyes wander down Yvette's body, stopping at her full breasts, peeking out of the mauve-colored peasant top she had on. They were bigger than he remembered. His gaze traveled further south, and that's when he noticed her round belly. It had been disguised in the flowy material when she was standing up, but there was no disguising it now. Yvette was pregnant. A knot formed in his stomach. Her boyfriend had gotten her pregnant. It should have been James. He gave himself an internal shake. No, I lucked out it wasn't me. Wait, was it possible he was the father? How far along is she? His tone was urgent when he asked Taylor as she pushed buttons on her phone. She glanced up at him as she lifted her shoulders. I don't know. She's due the end of March, so I guess work backwards from there. He fell back on his ass with a plunk after doing the quick math. Almost 6 months along, making her conception right around when they'd been together. Holy blank, am I going to be a dad? Yvette's point of view. She felt something cool on her forehead at the same time she heard a deep voice saying, you don't need to call her. I'm sorry, let me try it again. You don't need to call her. I'm a doctor. She's going to be fine. Taylor, known for her spunk, didn't back down. Well, she's my boss, and I was given explicit instructions to call her if anything happened. The deep voice was much closer to her than Taylor's, and she heard him mutter, damn it. A higher voice cooed, she's just doing her job, Jamie. Yvette slowly opened her eyes. She was lying on the couch in the lobby with a pillow propped under her knees, and yep, James was still there. He was the one blotting her forehead with a cold cloth, and the beautiful woman was still next to him. What happened? You fainted, he said with that same smile that had made her weak in the knees when she first met him. Damn dimples. Oh, was all Yvette could think to say. Have you eaten today? I had a bagel for breakfast and some juice. He made a show of looking at his watch. It's 2:00. In your condition, you should be eating every few hours and drinking plenty of water. Oh, she drinks plenty of water, Taylor chimed in from behind the desk. Thanks for noticing my bathroom habits. It was a late breakfast, Yvette said defensively as she sat up on her elbows in an attempt to get up, only to be met by James pressing on her shoulder for her to lie back. You need to rest here for a little while. I'm sorry, that was James. You need to rest here for a little while. No, what she needed was to get some distance from him. I'm okay, really. No, you're not. You're going to lie here until you've eaten, and I say you can get up. It's kind of hard to eat lying down, she sassed. Oh, Jamie, the beautiful blonde purred. She's not one of your patients. If she says she feels okay, you should let her be. Yeah, Jamie, I'm fine. God damn it, Yvette. You should just fainted. That's not good for our... He stopped and corrected himself. The baby. Dang, dang, dang. He'd figured it out. Of course he had. It didn't take a rocket scientist. She supposed she could deny it, say the baby was someone else's, but Yvette suspected he wouldn't just take her word for it and demand it. He wouldn't just take her word for it and would demand a DNA test. He interrupted her thoughts. You're going to sit here and eat something. Then let me examine you before you get up again. You're an anesthesiologist, she pointed out, not an OBGYN. I went to medical school. Touché. His companion tugged on his arm. I'm sure she doesn't want you hovering over her. James didn't even look at the other woman. Instead, he scanned Yvette from head to toe, then looked her in the eye when he replied, too bad. Thank you.
Super cute.
Sorry, I had to unmute everybody. Yeah, you did a great job.
Yes, love it so much.
Well, and what a meet cute.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a second chance kind of meet cute, but yeah, just the mortification. I mean, I could.
Yeah.
The guy that you think you're never going to hear from again, and then he's there. Not only is he there, but he finds out that you're pregnant.
Oh my gosh. So I had a small question, and I know you kind of answered it, but maybe there was a mistake. Did you put a twist in it and give Yvette a boy anyways?
No, because the cover is actually, did I say a boy?
No, you
No,
said a
the
girl.
cover actually is a girl. It is
No,
all pink. So
okay, because you said like the friend or whatever was like, you're gonna have a boy or whatever.
yeah.
And so it was like,
That
is
would
there
have
a
been a
twist?
major spoiler, Dawn. You can't have that.
I'm really good with spoilers, Dylan.
No.
I
No,
saw we did have questions on the side, though. You
Yes.
know, some of those.
Yes, we did. So let me see here. Let's scroll down. Okay, Tess, who is your favorite character in your new release? And we're gonna extend this to Karen as well.
Okay.
So both of you.
In the new release, I like James, even though he's kind of like a jerk, where I made him not very likable for a little bit. He really is a good guy. I mean, and I have that's a soft spot for me. My heroes are always good guys. So
But I feel like from what I met of him, right, that he was a good guy to me anyways.
yeah. Well,
At
he's
the
in the process of redeeming himself right
Yeah.
there.
But I don't think I immediately loved him. So
Good.
just putting
Yay.
that out there.
Yay.
Well, and it's more fun to, redeem somebody that
Yeah.
you're kind of wondering how in the world are you going to redeem them? I mean, he didn't sound like he was too far down that
Yeah.
unredeemable path or anything, but yeah, it's fun when you get to see a full character arc and somebody's completely, changed and really owns the change at the end of the book. So,
well, in Wicked Hot Medicine, at the end of Wicked Hot Medicine, I had a lot of, I prepped it so Wicked Hot Baby Daddy was next, and you wanted to read it. But I had a few readers who didn't, and I did it on purpose, but who were mad at him for what he had done. And that was good. I wanted them mad at him because he goes to
mad at you.
He goes to her.
Just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're mad at me, but that's okay. So yeah.
And what about you, Karen? Who is your favorite character in your latest release?
Well, interesting. My latest release is also a secret baby, which I think a lot of people really hate. People either really love it or really hate it, I guess. And I was determined to make the people who don't like them like this story. And I think I can't pick which character of the hero and heroine that I love the best, but I will say that the character I enjoyed writing the most was the baby, who is actually 6.
Oh, yeah. Kids are fun.
And she's super smart, bookish little girl, and lives in a bookshop that her single mom and her grandma own. So I like tons of children's books from the late 80s are in there, and that's fun.
Oh, fun.
That
sounds fun.
That sounds like a lot
And then
of
there's
fun.
Cat, who is actually the exact same cat as my cat, who thankfully you took us off of camera while Tess was reading, because this is my recording studio, but I opened it up because it gets hot in here, and he immediately came inside and was crawling up the wall. And I was trying to get him out before and I did. He's gone, but he's a troublemaker like the cat in the book.
That's awesome.
Awesome.
I am with I wrote a character, but he was a boy in Cinderella and the Marine. It was the heroine's son, and he was a lot of fun to write. Now that I think, yeah, when you said that, I was like, yeah, I did enjoy writing Sam. That was,
Yeah. I too wrote like kids, and I loved it. I love the antics you can
yes.
throw into a relationship with kids. That's a lot of
Well,
fun.
and they can be so unfiltered, which is fun.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So next question. If you could ask your readers one question, what would it be?
Ooh.
That's a good question, Linda.
Yeah.
Linda.
I always like to ask, do you read with your eyes or your ears?
Okay.
Or both? Because I like to call listening to audiobooks reading with your ears instead of.
Sure. Sure.
What about you, Tess?
I think I would want to know, like, well, it's funny because I got a not a very nice review today, which, that's fine. That's good, right? But what I appreciated was she pointed out a plot hole in the story, and I was just kind of like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But it was an easy fix. And I don't know where I was going with that. So I think, just, I don't know. It was clever when I thought of it in my head, but then
I do that all the
time. So sometimes my brain just goes, or either that or it's old age. I don't know. I blame the MS, but I think it's really more old age. But I think, I would like to know, like, how forgiving are you when you're mad at your author? How, like, how forgiving are you?
Well, and maybe they'll answer both of your questions in the comments over there. That would be great.
Yeah. I mean, as a reader, I've read one book in my life where I just could not give the author, and it was a big name author, and it was me reading for like the Ritas, right? Like the judge for the Ritas. And I read this book, and it was having to do with the Coast Guard, and you guys don't know, but my husband was Coast Guard. I was Coast Guard. My husband retired, and she got it so wrong that it was apparent she didn't do any research for it, and her editor didn't do any research for it whatsoever. That made me so angry from a reader's perspective. Like, she's probably the only author that I've never forgiven. Like, that's it.
Well,
but other than that, like, when I read things like, oh, whatever, like, I'll forgive you. If you suck, I'll forgive you. I'll just read your stuff anyways, because I love to read,
Right.
So
I did read a book where, and I'm a former history teacher, that the author had said that Sandra Day O'Connor was dead, and she's still alive to this day.
Was it fiction?
Yeah, it was a fiction. But it was, that really turned me off. But I can't remember the author, and I can't remember the book, but I just remember that stuck with me, like, oh.
Well, and I'm sure it depends on your perspective too, because Dawn, if I read a book about the Coast Guard, I would not know.
You wouldn't know,
and
you'd love it. And
I saw something recently about it was a nurse posting on Facebook, about if you're writing medical romances, please make sure you do your research. And so I think it's important that we do our research, but even when you do your research, sometimes there are honest mistakes and stuff. So
this was beyond honest mistake, though. This was like, she literally just Googled a couple phrases and then just went with it, and then, like, her Big Six editor, like, pushed it through. I was angry. I left a review. I left a review, and I only leave good reviews. That was probably the only bad review I've ever written. I gotta be honest. And it was for the Ritas.
Well, let's move on.
I would like to say though that I got a letter last summer from a reader from the opposite point of view, where it was a book that came out last year called You Spin Me. And I don't want to spoil it, but both of the main characters had serious medical and or psychological issues. And I did a whole lot of research. I had sensitivity readers, and I worked as hard as I could. But I still was worried because I don't have, I sort of had her experience, but not to the level that she did. But I got a letter from a reader who, well, it was an email, not a letter, but who said that she and her husband had the exact same experience, in that he had the same thing happen to him. She had the same thing. Her experience was the same. And she just thanked me for reflecting their experience, their love story into the world. And I was like, okay, I'm done. I don't have to write anymore, because it doesn't get better than that. So I think that's the reward when you do your research and your imagination can get into it enough.
So basically what Karen's saying, readers, is we also love for you to send us like positive emails, positive, things about how, we help you or influence your lives as well. It helps us write. It helps us in our own writing. Because what I'm getting from what you just said.
Oh, yeah. It's so inspiring, because you just feel like, I came up as an actor and doing live theater and live improv. And that kind of interaction with an audience is like a drug. And I haven't had that since I had kids, so even in audiobooks, you're just sort of putting it out there, just like you are as a writer. And so when you get it back, it just, when you reached someone, you touched someone, you made them feel something, you made them laugh. It's just why I do it,
Well, and that's so interesting too, because as a live actor, you're getting immediate feedback. So, if you bombed, if you nailed it, if you
if they're opening up their little candies because they're bored.
Right. And as an author, especially if you're writing trad, I turned in a book. It's like at least a year, sometimes longer, before, you write the book and then it actually makes it to a shelf. And so, there's a lot of delay there.
Right.
I got a book that's been at my agent's for a year. So we'll see.
I would forget that it was me that wrote it by that point.
I know.
Right.
That's what's fun, is you forget that you wrote it and then you read it again with fresh eyes and you're like, oh, wow.
I know. Or
That's
even
great.
just rehashing the plot. Like I was like showing a house to a couple the other day over by where I wrote my very first Kensington book. And it was like, just so you know, this happened right over there. And then I was kind of muddling up fiction from real life.
Well, and that was historical.
Yeah, historical.
Right?
Historical.
So you weren't telling them anything modern.
No, it was all historical. I'm like,
when the cowboys used to come through town here.
Yeah.
So fun. You want to do we have like one more question, and then we'll give Karen a chance to read, and then we can get to the rest.
See. Yeah, let me get it. Do you prefer writing series or standalone?
Series. Funny story. When I wrote my first book, when I was wet behind the ears and had no clue about anything, and I thought I was under the fantasy that my publisher was going to do all these wonderful things for me. They kind of forgot I existed after the book went live. But I had written that book not intending it to be in a series, and then the competing love interest, I kind of fell in love with him. So it was like a no-brainer. Like he needed to have his happy ending too. And then it just snowballed. So I mean, I think even if I wanted to write a standalone, the secondary characters always demand their story. So, I mean, even with this series, characters that I had no intention of giving a book are going to get a book. So,
yeah,
just the
I feel
my
you.
ear.
I feel you so hard right now.
Yeah.
What about you, Karen?
I'm both in that I like to write interconnected standalones so that you can come at them whatever angle. But I, as a reader and a writer, I like to imagine that there's this real place with these real people. And mine is set in Boston, which is a real place, obviously, but that all these relationships exist in the world.
Right.
I've been binging. I was really sick with a stomach thing last week, and I read like 8 books by Kate Nolan in her Misfit Inn series. And I feel like I've been in Tennessee all week, just from, I'm and getting to know these people, and I love that. So yeah.
Yes.
I feel like I mean, my books are standalone in that you don't have to read one for the other, but it is a series, and it usually helps if you read them in order, but they can be standalones.
All right, shall we get to the reading?
Yeah, let's let Karen read. Do you need to set up a scene for us? Are you reading from page 1, or what do you have for us tonight?
I'm going to set it up. So this is a book. This is my first book, and the one that I narrated half of. So I'm going to read that part that I actually narrated. And this is free right now, just for a few days, because it's on some newsletter this weekend for free. But I also have a novella in the series, which I don't have a book for. That's free right now too. So 2 free ebooks you can find.
Great. Yeah,
so this book is an opposites attract rom-com about a finance whiz heroine and a starving actor hero. There he is. That's Shakespeare. And so I'm going to start at their meet cute, which takes place at a bar that's very much like the Cheers bar in Boston, where our heroine Kate, she goes to meet up with a group of her male colleagues for happy hour, something she never does because she's a stock analyst. She doesn't socialize with the guys because partly because she works 90-hour weeks, but mostly because since she started at the investment firm, they have done everything from leave Xerox copies of their private parts to sending her a male stripper disguised as a bike messenger to propositioning her. And these are all things that actually happen to women in the finance industry in the 1980s. But this day, she got this ultimatum from her boss that she has to start going out on sales trips or she's going to lose her job. So she has to find one of the sales guys that she can deal with to work with as a partner. And the more thing that you should know is that in her mind, every guy at her firm is named either Mark or Steve. So she keeps track of them by labeling them like Tall Brad, Loud Mark, and Hot Steve. So you might hear a reference to that. And we're going to start just as Kate is served the drink that she ordered.
All right, we will leave you to it, and we'll be back after.
Movement behind the bar has me sliding a 5 across and reaching for the glass that appears in its stead. Bubbles float up through the pink liquid sparkling in the low light. At the stem's base, long fingers and a wide palm press into the wood. I attempt to lift the glass. It does not budge. Clearly, I am going to win this tug of war. My gaze roves up a corded forearm to a bulging bicep, to wide shoulders, to a square jaw stubbled with a Don Johnson-like 5 o'clock shadow, and clear blue eyes lit with challenge. I nod to the money still on the bar. Is the drink more than $5? Full lips pressed together. The glasskeeper shakes his head slowly. No, I'm just not convinced that this is what you really want. Oh, for goodness sake. I force a smile as well as a friendly tone. Isn't the customer always right? Left hand still on the wine glass, he leans on his right elbow and rests his chin on his palm. That's what they say. But when you ordered, it seemed like you really wanted something else. Oh, I get it. You just want to hear me ask for a sex on the beach or a slow, comfortable screw. Or is this some kind of upsell strategy? He straightens, hands up, palms facing me. If that white Zinn spritzer, his words drip with distaste, is what you're looking for, take it. If not, I'll make you something else, no additional charge. I grip the edge of the bar. How did this get so complicated? Okay, you're right. I just saw what I lean in, lower my voice, and tip my head in the direction of the sparkly bloused woman to my left, whose bangs arch over her forehead in a fashion that must have taken an inordinate amount of time, effort, and hairspray to achieve. She was having and copied her. I raise a hand to stop him from whisking the spritzer away. I'm just here to do a little FaceTime, act like one of the guys, but I have to go back to the office and work. I make myself smile to soften my bitchy tone. It doesn't really matter if I like the drink or not, because I'm only going to hold it and then use it to water that plant over there every once in a while. Swallowing the rest of my rant, I slide the 5 back over the bar and raise the wine glass. So thank you for your concern and keep the change. Hold on. His firm command pins my feet to the floor and freezes the glass on the way to my mouth. That wine spritzer is not what you need. Just like my SOB ex-boyfriend, and really every man I seem to encounter, he obviously thinks he knows better. It doesn't matter. Like I told you, I'm just going to pretend to drink it. Whether you drink it or the plant does, the spritzer is not going to work. Give it back. Okay, don't have a cow. I set the glass on the bar and cross my arms. Sheesh. He points at me. Wait. Do not leave. I said okay. It's like I'm in a schoolyard, fighting with a little boy I have a crush on. Not that I have a crush on this guy. There is something about him that has me wondering if I should take my sex drive out for a spin for a change, but I don't have time for crushes. Anyway, what's wrong with ordering a wine spritzer? Isn't that what women drink these days? Curiosity has me craning my neck to watch what he's creating. I swear, I'm not trying to check him out, but he's bent over getting some cooler, so I admire the view. Faded Levi's hug blue chip glutes like they're made for each other. This guy moves with an easy confidence. When he straightens to pour a series of liquids into a glass, his wrist flipping bottles theatrically, I note an even distribution of muscle. Not rangy like a runner, not bulky like a bodybuilder. He's kind of a JFK Jr. with blue eyes. He's actually even better looking than JFK Jr., if you can believe it. He spins to grab a lemon and a knife, shoulders bobbing in time with U2. Bono still hasn't found what he's looking for, just like me. Even so, I'm not sure this bartender is my type. He seems to enjoy standing out in a crowd. Drink in hand, he turns my way, and my heart races around the perimeter of my rib cage. The last time I had this kind of reaction to a guy had to have been during Reagan's first term. I dive into my handbag and pretend to search for something, hoping to hide the look of lust on my face. Try this. Invitation colors the rich tones of his voice in a way that is not at all irritating. You really didn't have to go to all that trouble. I'm talking to the bottom of my purse, but he's waiting for me to take the glass. A thick-bottomed, squat glass holds ice and some sort of pale brown liquid. So what is it? He leans on the polished mahogany bar. It's my own special recipe, developed for a customer who can't drink alcohol anymore. It's barley tea, bitters, and simple syrup with a lemon twist. A new-fashioned, old-fashioned. His smile is proud. You can look like you're drinking like a big boy, but not get drunk. My hand itches to touch the light sprinkling of hair on his forearm. Instead, I raise the glass and take a tiny sip. What do you think? This is actually pretty good. I take another gulp, hoping it'll cool me down. Thanks. Sorry, did you say your name? Will Talbot, at your service. Well, thank you very much, Will Talbot. You have provided excellent service. But remembering the reason I'm here, I quickly check out the huddle of my coworkers. Thankfully, all eyes are still on the Celtics game. This stays between us, right? He bows formally. Be thou assured, if words be made of breath, and breath of life, I have no life to breathe what thou hast said to me. Come again? It's from Hamlet. What I mean is, I won't reveal your secrets. I scan my stalled frontal lobe for an appropriate response. Oh, well, thanks. Really, I should just walk away right now, cut my losses. I would, if his big blue eyes weren't holding mine prisoner. The blue of the sky on a perfect spring day. A blue we'll hopefully see here in Boston someday soon. It was a long, cold, lonely winter. All I want in this moment is to get closer to those eyes, to those wickedly grinning lips, and everything okay? Oh, yeah. I was just distracted because panicking. My eyes skitter from brow to lips to eyes to dimple to dark curly hair, each in and of itself not so special, but in defiance of economic theory, the total effect far outweighs the sum of individual parts. Something shiny catches my eye. That thing on your, you know, English language, anyone? Tie clip! He lifts his tie to peer at the pin. It's the logo for the Boys and Girls Club. I got it for volunteering with them for 5 years straight. I teach after-school classes at the South End Community Center with my company. Ah, ever so articulate, I nod like a bobblehead doll bouncing on a bumpy road. Does he teach bartending to kids? Asking seems insane. Thanks for the special drink. Anytime. I should move, but I seem to have forgotten how. Oh, hey. He slides a half sheet of paper across the bar toward me. There's a community volunteer event there this Saturday. You should come. Taking the flyer, I make myself break eye contact. Cool beans. Cool beans? What a Joni. Lifting my drink in salute, I head back to the guys from my firm, but I'm such a loser, I can't even manage walking. I catch my damn heel on the uneven flooring. With great effort, I keep the drink from spilling, but my lurch gives one of the marks the excuse to swoop in. Whoa there, McFly! How many of those have you had? Loud Mark hugs me roughly, his thumb brushing the side of my breast. What a lightweight! I clamp my lips into a line. At least he didn't. And then he does. He smacks me on the butt. But you've totally got a bodacious ass. Swallowing the retort I'd love to make, I glance back to the bartender. His spine stiff. He looks like he wants to pounce on Loud Mark. I roll my eyes dramatically to let him know it's no big deal and allow myself to be literally manhandled across the room, even though it's a little embarrassing that the cute bartender witnessed this particular asset bust. That's it.
Oh, hold on. Let me unmute everybody.
Love it.
Oh,
Holy cannoli.
that was great.
Yes.
Love it.
Very fun. I love all the references to the time period, and that was
That was great.
And can I say you're a great narrator?
yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know. Now I
I've
want to
been
go
good.
listen to it.
21 years I've been doing it, so.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you can tell. I mean, you were
Yeah.
great. I was like enthralled
Amazing.
the whole time.
Right.
Very
All right.
fun.
So we
So
do
that's
have.
did you say that was the first book in that series?
That's the first book in the series.
Okay.
And they're these are the I love my covers so much I have to show them off. So
Absolutely.
this
We
is
like
the
to see
second
covers.
book. This is a second chance best friend's little brother with a very cute dog who ends up being sort of a matchmaker. And this is the third book, the one that I was talking about with this sort of broken hero and heroine. I have to say, favorites, the audiobook of this one is amazing. My engineer did a great job. The hero is a DJ, and we did a little interstitial at the beginning of every chapter that's like a little slice from the radio with sound effects and all that.
Fun.
I love that.
That's
And then
awesome.
this is the one that just came out in audio, and this is The Secret Baby, the little
Ah.
Swiss roll girl. And
Very fun.
I love the illustrated covers.
Yeah, the illustrated covers are a lot of fun. I haven't done any of mine in illustrated covers, but there's they're very popular right now. And there's some really cute ones out there. I tend to go more for the man chest covers on my books.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we do have 2 more questions.
Okay.
So the first one is, what part of the book was the most fun to write?
And so I guess let's base that on the books you read from tonight.
Yes.
Well,
I think the dialogue, because they kind of snark back and forth, and that was a lot of fun, just to write the snark and the sarcasm but it was also, there was also the sexual tension underlying through all of it. So yeah, definitely that.
yeah, I think I actually tend to write most of my first draft just as dialogue. I think it's because I come from an acting background and I hear them talking, which I always thought was a crazy thing that wasn't a real thing that happened to authors, but it does. So I like that. But my other favorite thing is not, I guess, writing, but I love the research. I do really enjoy, because I find it really inspires the story. And usually if I'm stuck, I can go into research and find something to.
Yeah. I mean, history is filled with, sorry, I accidentally switched up. History is filled with so many wacky facts that you can't make this stuff up. And yeah, it really sparks all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, like those specifics of the sexual harassment that every single thing that is in that book, that's a big theme of her book, was things that I read about that happened to real women, or she's based on a friend of mine's career who remains nameless to protect the not so innocent. But that's what people did.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes.
Yeah,
I remember.
So last question, is there a particular genre you would love to write but only under a pseudonym?
I do. I have 2 other pseudonyms. One is they're sci-fi romance. And I'm kind of in I started and then I shelved it. It's a series. And that pseudonym is Autumn Aquarius, but I haven't published anything. And then another pseudonym that I'm not telling anybody, not even my husband, is pretty. It's erotica. And the reason, and it's not that I'm ashamed of it. It's just I found when I first started writing under Tess Summers, and I knew nobody knew me. I didn't have I didn't have to, in the back of my mind, I wasn't worried my aunt's going to read it or my best friend's mom's going to read it. I didn't have that. But I do now. So that always is in play. And I didn't want that with this genre. And I knew I would if I told people my name. So nobody knows it. Not even my editor.
So side question for you, and confess if you have to.
Sure.
Which pseudonym is your favorite?
Well, I mean, they all fill a need. It's I can write the naughty things that women aren't supposed to write or know about. And then there's the sci-fi, which I'm not, I came under that almost by accident, but I ended up really enjoying the world that we built. But for sure, Tess, because this is my 19th book that came out today. So,
congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm definitely vest, and all the worlds intertwine. So like this, even though I have 3 series, they're all intertwined. So they're kind of like my kids, you know.
Mhm. That makes sense.
And what about you, Karen?
My answer is no. I'm doing what I want to be doing, and I'm still pretty much of a baby writer, though. So I mean, maybe that would happen sometime. But my pseudonym is, I was saying to Dylan before we all started, was that my pseudonym is only because someone else took my real name already. Because there's a women's fiction writer named Karen White, and everyone just said, no, you got to have a different name. And so, but I kind of enjoy having Karen Gray. Just it's like me, but it's another.
So when I saw that, because I totally missed that conversation between you and Dylan about Karen White, I thought, ooh, is Karen White like her sweet, and like Karen Gray like her spicy?
Nope, Karen White is
Gotcha.
That's her real name. It's her married name.
Okay.
But it's fine. I don't know. I like Karen Gray, and you know, then there's just, of course, I chose Karen Gray before the whole Karen thing exploded. So I'm just trying to rehab my first name as best as I can here, living, being kind, and you know, I mean, every once in a while I have to deal with a customer service person that is not helping me. A Karen comes out, but I really try to keep her in line. You know,
funny.
We know a lot of really nice Karens. So
yes, Karen Hoffman.
It's unfortunate Karen got picked on to be
I know.
Karen.
Well, there's so many of us in a certain generation.
Yep.
You know, it just was like, it was in Red Book magazine the year I was born. That's what my mom said. It was like, ooh, new names to try out. And everybody did.
Yep. Well, and that's a good way to get names for your books. If you're setting a book that takes place in the 90s, you know, like if your characters are, I don't know, in their 20s or 30 or whatever, you know, what was the most popular baby name?
That's what I Google.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Most popular name in 1962 or whatever. Yeah.
That's usually my very first Google of the book. Yeah.
Try to get the names nailed down.
Yeah.
Well, thank you both for being with us. I know we have giveaways posted on the Romance Happy Hour Facebook page. We'll leave that open through the weekend. Karen is giving away, you've got 5 copies of Reader's Choice, and I put ebook on there, but it's actually ebook or audiobook. So if you win one of Karen's books, you get to pick if you want an ebook or an audiobook. And Tess, you have got an ebook up there of your brand new book that just came out today that you read from tonight.
Yes.
So make sure you check that out. And do you have anything else, Dawn?
I don't think so. I'm good.
Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely, yes.
So my other passion project right now is that I'm helping other authors market their audiobooks. So if any people who are listening are interested in reviewing advanced listening copies of audiobooks or post on Instagram audiobooks, then go to homecookedbooks.com and you can sign up to be on my team.
Great. That sounds wonderful. And then where is the best place? I meant to ask that before. Where is the best place to find you? Where do you both hang out the most?
Facebook. I want to say Instagram because that would make me more hip, or TikTok. And I have those accounts, but I sometimes forget that I have those accounts.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to be everywhere at once. So so Facebook is where you hang out the most. How about you, Karen?
Facebook and Instagram a little bit more than Facebook.
Okay. All right. So
I'm going to try that next.
Instagram?
Instagram more than Facebook. I'm going to try that.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, Dawn and I will see you next time. And if you want to catch up with Karen and Tess, go check out their other books. And we will make sure that we get links to your if you guys want to put them up in the comments of the show, you can certainly do that. Or else Donna or I will put them up on the page. So we make sure that people know about that. So thanks for being with us, everybody. Thanks for watching. And we will see you next time on the next episode of Romance Happy Hour.
Thanks for having us.
Bye.